Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first of what might be many special shows that I'm going to be doing. So let me explain a little bit, and then you'll know kind of what I'm about. So just so you know, I think I talked about it on Sunday. We are under a 14-day quarantine here. And we've just found out just this afternoon, because there's just been an announcement made by our Prime Minister that all schools right across the whole United Kingdom will be closed from Friday lunchtime for the foreseeable future. So, and I think the next phase for the UK is going to be full lockdown, like most European countries already have. So France has it, Spain has it, Italy has it, and I'm pretty sure Austria and Switzerland and possibly even Germany will follow suit. So most of Europe is already in lockdown, and we are going to be on lockdown probably fairly soon, because already they're saying don't go to pubs or clubs or any public gatherings are pretty much don't do them. And so, already these places are already shut because they've been told to shut. So, social gatherings are pretty much out of the question. And so, I thought that maybe during this strange kind of period that we're all in, that we could help each other out and serve each other better. Because, in some cases, some of us are going to be housebound for a while. And so, with people being housebound, locked indoors, cabin fever is probably going to set in for some people. I know that it has for me a wee bit. So I thought that what I could do to help serve you guys is by increasing my output of live streams, so that you've got somebody, that a familiar face that you know and that you trust, who you can interact with and that you can talk to, who is, from outside of your home. So that's what these shows are kind of going to be for. So yes, they're going to be Studio One orientated. Yes, they're going to be music production orientated. Yes, they're going to be songwriting orientated. And the reason for that is because I believe that in this crazy time that we are in at the moment, that we have probably the best opportunity to be creative than we've had probably in a wee while. Because a lot of us have full-time jobs. A lot of us have day jobs, which means we can't be in our studios all the time. But, as different parts of the world go into lockdown to try and slow down the spread of the coronavirus, and, maybe even in some cases eliminate it and stop it from doing anything, stop transmission altogether. And I think that maybe one of the ways in which I can help you guys is help you guys in your studios because you'll have an unprecedented amount of time. So, you know, if that means I can help you guys dive in deeper into Studio One, dive in deeper into songwriting and arranging, and maybe even try some new things that you've not had time to try before, then we can do that. And also just be a chance for interaction, social interaction with somebody else, you know? So I'm happy to provide a wee space for doing that. I know Jonny does his show every day at 6 p.m. Central Time. I might not be able to do a show every single day, but I'm certainly going to be doing more than just my weekly Sunday Night Live. Now, my Sunday Night Live show is still going to happen. It's still going to be at the same time, 6 p.m. Central Time, every Sunday, without fail. That's still going to happen. This, for me, is going to be an additional way in which I can provide support and content for you guys to get yourselves into. And as I say, social interaction that you otherwise wouldn't get with other people. So that's what this is all about. So I'm here just for a short while just now. It's 6 o'clock in the evening here in Scotland. We'll be having our dinner very shortly, but my plan is I'm going to come back a little bit later and, you know, perhaps even be a little bit of a warm-up routine for Jonny's show at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm not going to get in the way of his show. I will definitely be done before he starts his. But I'm definitely going to come back and do a longer show later on this evening. Maybe in, where are we, 6 o'clock now? Maybe in 3 hours' time. So maybe 9 p.m. UK time, which is 3 hours from now, I will be back and I'll do a much longer show. And I will advertise that as well. But please do, if you're wanting to be here and you're wanting to get other people to be here at 9 p.m. UK time, 3 hours from now. So, and I am currently 5 hours behind. Is it behind or ahead? Let me think about that. 3 hours. I'm 5 hours ahead of Central Daylight Time right now. So, in 3 hours from now, 6 p.m. UK time, so 9 p.m. UK time, I intend to do a much longer show for maybe an hour, hour and a half, something like that. And I'm going to try and do these regularly over the coming few weeks. Okay? So we'll have more time to get into more stuff. They are largely going to be unplanned, so I'm not necessarily going to have planned stuff. It's more going to be about helping engage you guys in with what you are doing. And so it'll be an extra opportunity for you guys to ask your questions, and an extra opportunity if you're having issues with Studio One that maybe we could resolve some of those as well. So all of that kind of stuff we will unpack and get ourselves into over the course of the next few weeks. I intend to do this for the next few weeks. So yeah, that's the plan. So it is lunchtime for you guys in the Central Standard Time area. So that's going to be very cool. So yeah, 3 hours from now, I'll be back and we'll do a much longer show. But seeing as I've got like 10 of you here, we can talk for a little bit longer. I don't think dinner's going to be ready for another sort of 30 minutes. I'm sure my wife will knock on the door when it's ready. So because she's good like that. So yeah, as I say, we are all under quarantine at the moment. So I have my kids at home. My wife has been at home since last week. And she's hoping to go back to work on Friday, which will mean I'll be at home with the kids for another week after that. So yes, it will be 10 p.m. Frankfurt, Germany. That is correct. Yep, that's the plan. So I hope you guys are okay with that. Let's see, Mike Neighbours here, and Ken Moss, and Sean Aaron is here as well. Mike is asking if I'm bored. You know what? I am a little bit. I have had a string of meetings today with the guys at Presonus because I've just started working there, and so there are a few things that need to be taken care of, things that I need to learn. So I've been in a string of meetings on Skype this afternoon, which has been great fun, and it's really exciting, actually, what I'm going to be doing. I'm really excited. So it's going to be great. Let's see. Michael Johnson says, I'm at work, but saw a notification and thought I'd sneak a wee peek. Very, very good. I'm glad you're here, Michael, but, don't get yourself into any trouble. And my neighbor said something and then retracted it and then said, pardon my French. Yeah, you want to use the S word. The S word is okay. We'll allow the S word. S-H-I-T, that's fine. It's kind of, it's not really a swear word, I don't think. Let's see. Sean Aaron says, I live in Washington. I bailed on my trip to Seattle. Yeah, I think kind of travel those, and even if you're in your own car, I think those kind of things are starting to get frowned upon as well. Ken says, I'm off for 2 weeks, but it may be as much as 10. Yeah, I think our kids are going to be off for potentially 16 weeks, which basically means the entire summer term is going to be gone. So essentially, as it stands at the moment, I think my kids' academic year is going to end on Friday. Which is fine for them. They are not at certificate level yet, so they're not at the point where, man, I'm getting notifications galore here. They're not at the point where they're working towards exams and certificates and that kind of thing. So it's kind of okay for them, but there are kids in schools who are now extremely anxious because they are expecting to be doing their exams in May and June and July, and yeah, you know what? We've just been told they are not going to happen. So I don't know. Oh dear God, notifications. Yeah. So yeah, those folks are going to be pretty anxious, and their teachers as well, because their teachers have to get kids ready for exams and that kind of stuff. So that's going to be tough. Michael Johnson says, I live in Pulaski, TN. Is that Tennessee? Must be Tennessee. Oh my good grief. Somebody needs to tell me how to turn off notifications so that at least we don't get the sound. I don't mind if they pop up on the screen, but if I can turn off the sound, that'd be great. I'm still quite new to Windows 10. There have been 0 cases anywhere near here, but I went to the store yesterday and the shelves are freaking empty. Yeah, there are some parts of some bigger countries like the United States where you're not seeing any cases, but that doesn't mean to suggest that you're not going to. What it means is it just hasn't got to you yet. It just means that, those things just haven't got to you yet. There's got to be a way that I can just turn these damn things off. I just haven't found it yet. Yeah, it just means that it hasn't got to you yet, but it will. It absolutely will. It's like a tidal wave. It's gonna get to you eventually. You might not see it yet, but it will get to you. It will get to your neighborhood. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you're gonna get it. You're probably not. A lot of very healthy people aren't gonna get it, or if you do, it's just gonna be like having a nasty cold, and it will floor you. It will floor you, but you'll get up and you'll be fine. But, there are people who are either elderly or they have underlying health conditions. Those are the people that are going to die. To be really honest, those are the people that are most likely to die. And in fact, we have had a case here in Scotland of a person who was perfectly healthy, like me, in perfectly good health. They got coronavirus and they died. And they were in their mid-30s. So, there are no guarantees. Even if you are completely fit and healthy, you may still die of this thing. That's not to scare everybody. But, the point is, you just need to follow the guidelines and the advice that the World Health Organization and the CDC are putting out there. You just got to do it. And, social distancing, lockdowns, things like that, keeping people away from each other is one of the ways in which we can stop this thing from progressing. And it's going to take time. I mean, it may well be that we don't get this thing under control and even eliminated until sometime next year. It's going to take a lot of time because, coronaviruses, of which there are many. This is just one of them. This is just the newer one. There are many of them. They You know, they are pretty tough and they can mutate, which is what this one is. COVID-19 is a mutation of another coronavirus. That's all it is. But it's just nasty. Very, very nasty. So there we go. But, you know, I'm not an expert. I'm just kind of reading the same information that you guys are reading. This is all stuff that's freely available on the internet. So, you know, you can go read that stuff. Michael Johnson says, question for you since you have real keyboards. Pa-ding, pa-ding. I pulled two of my old MIDI keyboards out of storage and no longer have my Yamaha UX256 interface. I only have a Focusrite AI6. I know pretty much nothing about Focusrite interfaces. If it has MIDI inputs, you're good. Like if it's got like the 5-pin plug inputs for MIDI cables, then you should be good. You know, even if they are old MIDI keyboards, most, not all, by any means all, but most interfaces, whether Presonus make them or Focusrite makes them or anybody else makes them, a lot of them still have the old MIDI cable inputs on them. I'm sure that when we get to MIDI 2.0 being fully implemented on OSs, then those kind of plugs may well actually be phased out because they won't be necessary because newer gear will be MIDI over USB, MIDI 2.0 over USB. I'm sure something like that will happen. But for now, the old 5-pin system for MIDI 1.0, it means that old MIDI gear can still be connected to modern 21st century devices. It's not a problem. Michael says it has one MIDI in, MIDI out. Okay, so you are good, actually. But what it does mean is you're going to be maybe slightly limited to how many of your keyboards you can be hooked up to your interface at one time, which is one. So you're only going to be able to have one keyboard hooked up via MIDI at a time unless you use MIDI through. You could use MIDI through so that way you kind of have the two keyboards connected together via MIDI, and then that goes to MIDI out into MIDI in of your interface. That might work. You'll just have to find a way in which you can have the two keyboards on separate MIDI channels for send and receive, so that you don't get, you know, that weird, funny duplication thing that plagued everybody in the 80s with MIDI. You know, you play one sound on this keyboard, and then the other one triggers on the other keyboard. That would be a pain in the butt. So you kind of need to make sure that you've got them transmitting, on the two MIDI channels. Michael says, I'm thinking I can use MIDI through. Yeah, I think you probably could too. I think you could probably try that and see if it works. And that way both keyboards should be able to go into your interface that way. So when you have like 7 people here, which is fine. I wasn't expecting loads and loads of people to pile in because, hey, I didn't really put any adverts out there about this. So, yeah, definitely 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I will do a show then. So it kind of partly depends upon my kids settling down. But if they're all settled, 9 p.m. I'll be here. But yeah, certainly pile in here at 9 p.m. and wait for me. And you shouldn't have to wait too long. Okay, I will set the stream up after this show's finished. I'll set the stream up and we'll have it on a countdown. And it will be fine. And then you guys can just congregate and you can chat amongst yourselves until I get here. And I'll try not to keep you guys waiting too terribly long. But yeah, 9 p.m. and we'll go for maybe an hour and a half, something like that. So if you guys are up for that, then that would be cool. And that means that, you know, even if you're not on quarantine or self-isolation or in lockdown, then hopefully you should kind of be back from work if you are not working from home. Then yeah, you should be able to do that. Should be able to do that. There we go. That completes that little line. What's all the fuss going on over there? Okay, that's what that was all about. Okay, no problem. No problem. Michael Johnson says it's been at least 15 years since I've used 5-pin DIN. Yeah, I use them all the time. I have used them since 1985. Yeah, not the same cables, obviously, but certainly the same principle. I've got so many MIDI cables of varying lengths. I've got really short little guys that are about this long, and then I've got 6 foot long cables as well. Anything longer than 6 foot is just bad for MIDI cables, because the longer the cable, the more likely you're going to get some corruption of the MIDI data, and you'll get sticky notes and double triggering and all sorts of things. So yeah, best to try and keep them under 6 foot long if you can. This guy here is a 5 foot cable, and it just, because it has to go around the corner, it just about fits. And it's just the one cable. This guy here is not on MIDI. The red keyboard underneath here is not on MIDI. This is on just standard audio. This goes into channel 2 of my interface. There we go. I'm actually digging. Let's turn off the phaser. I'm actually digging Lydian dominant scales at the moment. Because they just sound exotic. And they sound really nice, especially over this kind of dominant 13th chord. Wait. With the sharp 11 in there, they sound really nice. So I've been playing around with those quite a bit at the moment. Let's see. Michael says, I think my first interface was an MPU 401. Gosh, that was a long time ago. My first interface was the one that came with the Atari ST. Well, it didn't come with it. I think you had to buy it as an additional device, and it just slotted into the side of your Atari ST, and that gave you MIDI in, MIDI out, and it also gave you a mic and line input as well. And so that was the first time I was able to get audio into a computer, and I think that must have been 1989, I think, into Cubase version 1, something like that. Something like that. I've got something flashing at me. What's going on here? It's just Skype chat. Okay, so it is 6:15 just now. I think I'll wrap it up here. And as I say, I'll be back later for a longer show at 9 p.m. UK time, which is just about 2 hours and 40 minutes away. All right, so I will see you all then. Please do spread the word about that and work out your own time differences for your own time zones. That would be really helpful. And I will see you then. Take care. Catch you later. Bye for now.